Hey everyone, as figured while I was out here doing some practice today, I'd harvest some wild edibles. Now today, I am doing Bulrush, which, to be honest, could very well be the exact same thing as Cattails. I don't know if Bulrush is an Australian relation to Cattails, or if it's in fact the exact same plant. But honestly, if they were two different plants, I don't think I would be able to tell them apart too easily. I've never actually eaten this before. Pretty much everybody in the bushcraft community would know about Cattails being edible. They are one of those caloric staples found very widespread. I think they might even be all across the entire northern hemisphere, I don't know. I think I've heard that somewhere. But how would I know? I've never been outside of Australia. But I've never actually eaten it before. And there's a big difference between knowing something is edible and actually being able to harvest it and consume it. Now you might think, wait, why is he cooking the seed head? Well, I heard somewhere that you can roast it and eat. I've never actually seen anyone do it. I've got the seed head, I've got the actual stalk, that is down where the root is, that's it without it. In fact, both these long tubular bits came from the same plant. It was just too long to fit in my pack, so I shortened it. Now I'm just roasting it in the coals. Well, cooking it over fire, whatever. And the last bit is the actual root itself. Now, this was a little bit of a pain to get out of the ground. It was all muddy and had to go wash it. Actually, why am I even cutting all of this off? I think I'll try and just cut these roots off of the tuber. Try to leave a bit of the skin on. Try and cook it in the skin like a jacketed potato. In fact, why am I even taking this? Right, now there are some bits on here that look like they might be a little rotten, so I'll just carve them off. Yes, you can have rot on living plants. What the hell? And to be honest, I actually harvest these from an area where, actually I'm not even sure who's in charge of it, but they're draining an old dam for, I have no idea why. And these were actually above the water line, so they were going to die. If not, they were already dying, so that might be why there's a little bit of rot on some of it. Why it's not looking the healthiest. Ew, slimy. Oh well. Pop you in there too. Looking at that seed pod, I'd say it's probably done. If not, I might have some char material. Yeah. Apparently you can also make flour out of these, which is a use I heard the Australian Aborigines had for Bulrush. Now, last time I did a wild edibles video, I had someone mention why I don't go into, you know, scientific names and stuff. And that's because this is not a guide to bush tucker. I'm just talking about it, trying to eat it, trying not to die while eating it. You know, bringing you guys along for the ride. In fact, if anyone has a good guide to Australian wild edibles they would like to let me know about, please drop it in the comments. I have been looking for one, especially if it goes into detail on harvesting shellfish and stuff. I mean, because there's quite a bit of that around here. I'm thinking that looks good. With the hoe. Ooh, that is hot. outside looking at charcoal. Well, I think this might have been way too high up the stalk to be food. That, or cooking it in this way, makes it inedible because it is like trying to eat a piece of wood. So, yes, that could be why it cooks so quickly. Mustn't be part of the plant that you eat. Oh well. Let's see how the other bits go. Is that meant to be edible? Some expert, the person who told me that was food, turned out to be. And now for the final piece, the actual bulb. Now I really hope this one's edible because I've seen Ray Mears eat it. Has the texture of potato. Might be a bit undercooked. I think I might cook it a little longer. Oh well. I've taken maybe a pea-sized bit. But that is the first one of those three that I've actually been able to eat as food. Even though it's only a tiny bit. Oh well. Looks like if I'm ever in a survival situation, might just have to skip those other two and go straight for the roots. Maybe do them up in a stew. Use them in place of potato. Really could use some seasonings. Kind of like a cross between a nut and potato, but not that nice. Oh well, I guess it's a acquired taste probably. I mean, it's not like but it's not like I mean, you guys have seen some of the stuff I cook. Yeah, I'm used to some pretty delicious stuff. Oh well, it's food. And now for the final piece. This is the stalk down near the actual root. I've cleaned up the root a bit and it's very woody, but that could be because I've cooked it a bit longer than the other bit, which was arguably undercooked, but crunchy. Seems like food, though I really could go for pizza right about now. Alright, let's try some of the inside the stalk down near the root. Apparently that is edible. Well, how close to the root do we have to get? At this point, I'm starting to think the only part of this that's really worth going after is the root. Yeah. Definitely just the root of this thing. But, you know, that's one of the reasons why it's important to actually get out and try this. Now, Considering that this is the first time I've actually ever consumed this wild edible, I really should not be doing this out here. See, when I started doing wild edibles, I would take them back into town before I would eat them. Which, I don't know, that might be a bad idea for some, I don't know. Yeah, some wild edibles, I wouldn't know. But it's something I always used to do, because I figured if I ever had an allergic reaction to a wild edible, I would rather have it in town where I could call an ambulance, as opposed to way out in the middle of the bush. I mean, it'd be pretty hard to give them directions to find me. In fact, a lot of people in Australia would know the bush tucker man. He almost died from an allergic reaction while teaching a course on wild edibles. He was out in the bush with a bunch of soldiers, because, you know, he's Major Les Higgins. He teaches wild edibles in the military. And he was showing them a berry or something that was supposed to be edible. He ate it. Severe allergic reaction. Had to get taken out by a helicopter. Or at least that's what I've been told. Don't worry, he's still alive. Love to meet him. If anyone knows how I can get in contact with him, please let me know. I really would love to meet him and get him to sign my hat. Yeah, this would be much better off in a stew. Hey, maybe I could throw it into that hobo stew I've had a few requests for. No, it's not a stew made out of hobo. That's cannibalism, and yeah, not doing that one. I'm doing the one that is supposedly made by hobos. Very different. Yeah, this really could use something to change the flavour. I mean, it's food, you could probably live on it, but when you compare it to some of the stuff I eat, which some of you have seen some of the stuff I cook, this isn't impressing my palate a whole lot. Ooh, that's kind of hot. Quite a lot nicer now that it's been cooked a bit longer. Now that it's been cooked longer, it is much nicer. It's kind of sweet, but still very starchy. To be honest, it kind of tastes like burnt pancakes, which is probably because it's a bit burnt on the outside, but somewhere between a very plain tasting nut and pancakes. But yeah, not as nice as actual pancakes, but yeah, it's, you know what I mean. It's kind of starchy, but a little bit sweet. I don't know, I think I might have heard somewhere that when you cook these, it converts some of the starches over to sugar, so I'm guessing if the longer I cook these, the sweeter they'll get. And then, now as we're getting a bit further up, it's not as sweet, but I don't know. Ooh, there goes those fibers I heard about. Look at all those stodgy fibers. Ah, now we're into that bit Ray Mears was talking about. Remember when I was watching the Rogers Rangers episode of one of Ray Mears' TV shows, and he took out a bunch of people and they started eating cat's tails, and they were talking about how they get these fibers in the bottom of the cat's tail, in the root of it. And when they eat it, the actual fibers are quite inedible, but they can, you know, suck all the starch off it. Food. And I'm pretty sure that's what I'm eating right now. Yeah, I don't think I'd be eating those fibers. But I can suck the starch, well, I can scrape the starch off. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this little adventure into wild edibles with me. Please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the share button, post it on Facebook if you really want to. But please hit like, and leave a comment if you really liked it. That would really make my day. Alright, everyone. See yous.